Hello everybody, I wanted to jump on here and give you a rundown of the books that I have read in January and some of the books that I still have on my TBR, and I'm hoping to get to definitely before February, but you know, I have a week left, so how much reading can I really get done? Let's hope a lot. But first up, I'm going to talk about Burial Rites. This is a novel by Hannah Kent, and I believe this is kind of like presented as her first book, but I know that she does have other publications. So when I picked up this book, I had seen a video by, I think her channel name is Books and Lala, or Lala and Books, one of the two. I'll link it down below. And she talked about this book as being one of her favorite in 2016. And I just so happened to be at Dollar Tree one day, and I said, you know what, let me go look at the books that they have, because I know that they have a book section. So I started looking through it, and I actually picked up 3 books that day. Burial Rites was one of them. And when I looked inside, it had been, this book retails for $26, and it still had the sticker from, I believe it was Costco. And so I was really shocked that they would have a $28, $26 book at Dollar Tree, but they do. So check out your Dollar Tree section, book section, because you might find really, really great reads. This was a really, really great read. I picked this book up and I devoured it in like 2 days. It kind of, the story keeps you interested, and it keeps you, you know, it really grabs you. It's a story about Agnes Magnus' daughter, and she has been sentenced to death. And it is a very sad story. It is very heartbreaking, but it's also a story that I was really glad that Hannah took on. Reading the back of this book, I realized that Hannah Kent actually went to Iceland, where this story takes place, and she heard the stories of Agnes Magnus' daughter. And for her to take those stories and create a whole nother, like a historical fiction book about it, it was really nice to see. I felt like she explained everything in detail too, where like you feel like this is Agnes telling you the story of what happened to her. It also gives you the perspective of a priest that is assigned to her atonement, and the family that has been kind of forced to take on Hannah, Agnes Magnus' daughter, as a like they kind of have to take her into their farm while she awaits her her sentence. Anyway, really good book, definitely recommended. And 2 other books that I picked up while I was there is the Madonna and the Moon. Now, I don't know anything about this story aside from the fact that it is based in 1957 and is about it takes place in Eastern Europe, and it has something to do with gypsies and all that stuff. Anyway, I love the book. I love the cover. I don't know why that really attracted me to it, but I love the picture of this guy. He looks like he has a story to tell, and I'm interested in reading what the story is about. So, the Madonna and the Moon. This is another one that I picked up, and it retailed for $27.95, but like I said, I got it at Dollar Tree, so I paid $1. And then I found another book at Dollar Tree called The Sadness of the Samurai, and I don't know much about this book. I haven't heard about it either, but it is by Victor del Arbol, and he talks about a woman, Isabel, who is living in Spain in 1941, and she plots with her lover to assassinate her fascist husband. So the story takes place through her experience, but then it kind of flashes forward to 20 years where her ancestor, Maria, kind of gets involved in the story of her ancestor and tries to like solve the crime and solve the mystery of, you know, who murdered and X, Y, or Z. So anyway, I don't know much of it. It sounded interesting. For $1, I can't beat it, and I picked it up, and that's going to be on my TBR. I did read Burial Rites, but this one and the Madonna book I haven't read. So those 2 are going to be read soon. Then this month I also got a chance to read I want to say 3, but I actually did not complete one of them. I read Our Revolution by Bernie Sanders, and it's on Audible, so of course I didn't read it physically. Um, quiet, Bernie. So this is what the book looks like. This is what I have as my, I don't have the physical book, so I'll show you guys here. And I also finished Rainbow Rowell's Landline, which I'll tell you, I told you I finished, but I didn't finish. I couldn't get into this book. I thought it was terrible. So I know there's a lot of Rainbow Rowell fans, but I didn't care for this book. I just found the protagonist, to be a little bit boring, and I felt like she was like super needy, and it wasn't my cup of tea, so I didn't finish it. One book that I did finish was How Not to Die by Dr. Michael Greger, or whatever the heck. How Not to Die is a story of this doctor's experience with, a completely vegan diet. His grandmother was diagnosed with cancer or something like that, and she was pretty much given no time to live, and she healed herself by changing into a completely plant-based diet. And it kind of like seeing that his grandmother pretty much healed herself with food and diet, this guy Michael Greger decided to go into medicine, and he influenced a lot of people to change their diet into a wholly plant-based diet. So I have an interest in eating only plant-based. I don't think that I can make the transition overnight, because it's hard when you have a family, you're cooking for other people, to completely get out of eating dairy and everything else. But that is my goal, and I'm hoping to completely transition into a complete plant-based diet. So I read that, I liked it, I would recommend it if you're interested in being a vegetarian or going complete plant-based. Another book that I read this month was When I Was Puerto Rican. Now, I read this book before and I couldn't get through it. It actually was a book that I had a really hard time getting through the first time I picked it up. This book is written by Esmeralda Santiago, and it talks about her experiences growing up in Puerto Rico, coming to the United States, and then also going back and forth, and hence the title When I Was Puerto Rican, because I also agree with Esmeralda that when you're born in the island and you leave the island, a lot of times people don't really embrace you as a Puerto Rican anymore. You're kind of like an outsider. I remember growing up, going to visit in Puerto Rico, and my family introducing me as, oh, this is, like my siblings, they would say, oh, this is my little sister from outside, de allá afuera. And they literally say from outside over there to mean, we're in the United States and we're no longer insiders and we're no longer considered Puerto Rican. So that was pretty interesting how she talked about that and why she named it Was. A lot of people thought it was a little bit pretentious, or maybe she was denying her culture, but that has nothing to do with why she named it When I Was Puerto Rican. It has everything to do with the fact that, her experience, which a lot of us are, familiar with that you are born there and leave to another country and come back to visit, and they consider you an outsider. So another thing that she says about the title and why she named it When I Was Puerto Rican was that when she was first in New York, when she first went to New York, people grouped everybody that spoke Spanish, or all the Spanish-speaking countries, as Hispanic. And so she was like, wait a minute, I was Puerto Rican when I came, yesterday, but now I'm Hispanic. So I thought that was pretty interesting too, because it is true. Sometimes we have to be all these different things, and I've heard a lot of people say to me, based on books that I might read or shows that I might watch or a movie that I might, oh, you're white now, or oh, you're this, or oh, gringa, or whatever, which is so stupid, because I can't take out of my every cell on my bone who I am. that I have likes and dislikes, and I, have accepted myself in this country as an American as well. Doesn't mean that I'm less Puerto Rican than the next person or anybody else, But like even me, I've been at fault of saying when I was little, when I first came here, I was like, oh, you're not Puerto Rican, you weren't born on the island. Well, that's not true, because my daughters and my son, they're not Puerto Rican, born on the island, but they're definitely Puerto Rican because I'm raising them, and everything in their culture has been ingrained in them, and it's in your blood. So a lot of learning has happened with this book, and just even exploring just even the title of the book, a lot of growth and information came from that. So that was another book that I read. And then the last books that I'm going to talk about, because I know this is going to be pretty long as it is Sarah J. Maas's Court of Thorns and Roses and The Court of Mist and Fury. Now, I haven't finished Court of Mist and Fury. I did complete this book, A Court of Thorns and Roses. And I want to say that I'm definitely a fan of these books. I heard that this is a retelling of Beauty and the Beast, but and although I can see that, I can see elements of Beauty and the Beast in this book, I definitely think that this is a book all on its own. It has a lot of elements of fairies and other type of creatures in it that you don't really get in, Beauty and the Beast, but, I get it, why they would make that reference. I know that there's a lot of people that have a problem with these books, and there are some problems with it, but I'm of the thinking that this is Sarah's story, and I'm not going to criticize her work, because the way that she's telling it is the way she sees it in her mind. And for me, I think that that's something that we should really honor and respect. And even though we have a certain opinion about something, it doesn't mean that it should be written that way. I am very, very firm on believing that this is her story, that's how she told it. If I want to tell it in a different way, then I should probably write another story or my own story, right? So I do get the negative comments about this story and where people might feel like it has some problems, but I still enjoyed it. I would definitely recommend it. I don't think that it's hype around this book. I think it's pretty good. I am not far enough into book 2 to give you a complete recommendation, but I heard from my daughter, who read both of them, that book 2 is definitely better than book 1. I get it, you're setting up a story in the book 1 and you have to set up characters and all of that. Book 2, there's a lot more happening, and that I can appreciate. But I'm kind of trying to take it slow with it, because the third book doesn't come out until May. And so, do I want to finish this book before I have the third book available and ready? So I like to have all of the books available to me, even if I haven't read them or if I'm not going to read them all at once. Because, I mean, how sad is it that you read one book and then you have to wait for the other one? So I finished this one, and this one was already waiting for us. So I'll let you know if I finish this, when I finish it, how I feel about it. And hopefully in May I'll have a third review of the final, I think it's the final book. I also heard that there's 2 other companion books that are not going to be the same characters, but are going to be kind of continuing in this world, which I love that Sarah J. Maas created this world, because I feel like in this book there's some characters that are going to stay with us for a long, long time. There are some characters that when you begin this book you love and now you hate, and other characters that when you started the book you hated but now you love. You know who I'm talking about. I do love it. I loved it. I think that my daughter is waiting patiently to see how the end when I get to the end, because she cried. So I'm anticipating that it's going to be emotional, and it's going to be one of those bittersweet moments for me, because I don't have book 3, but we'll see what happens. And pretty much that is it. I was going to kind of get into like my TBR in February, but I think I'm just going to go ahead and save it here and save it for another video, because I think this video is going to be pretty long. So with that said, I really appreciate you guys taking the time to see this video, and I know that it was pretty long. But I really appreciate your support. I appreciate all your comments. I feel so grateful to be part of this community and so grateful to have been received in such a loving way that I feel like this is really it really keeps me motivated to do more. So please let me know if there's anything that you want to see, if there's anything that I should be reading. I have a couple of book recommendations that I got from Instagram for Bookstagram, and I'm excited to read them. And I'll keep you guys posted because I'm pretty sure that I'll have them in my February read list. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe and give this a thumbs up, and help me out by letting everybody know that I'm here, that I'm in booktube, and I want to be a part of your booktube family. Thank you so much, and may great books be in our future.